I've worked night shifts at a gas station in rural Ohio for about a year now. It's one of those 24-hour stops off the highway, surrounded by cornfields and a stretch of woods that always feels too quiet. The job's usually boring, restocking snacks, mopping floors, and dealing with the occasional trucker. But last month, something happened that I can't explain, and it's made me question whether I'll ever work another night shift again. It was around 2 a.m., midweek, and the store was dead. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, and the only sound was the hum of the coolers in the back. I was behind the counter, scrolling through my phone, when I heard the bell above the door chime. I looked up expecting a customer, but no one was there. The door was still swinging slightly, like someone had just walked in, but the parking lot was empty, no cars, no headlights, nothing. I figured it was the wind and went to check the door. It was locked, which was weird because I hadn't locked it. Yet that night, I brushed it off and went back to the counter. About 10 minutes later, I heard it again, the bell chiming this time. I was staring right at the door when it happened. It didn't move. No one came in. My heart started racing, but I told myself it was just the old wiring or something. I grabbed the keys to check the security cameras in the back office. The feed showed the parking lot, clear as day, empty. But when I rewound the tape to the moment the bell rang, there was a flicker on the screen, like static. And for a split second, I thought I saw a shadow move across the lot. It was gone when I paused and looked closer. I locked the front door after that. Company policy be damned. I wasn't taking chances. I started hearing faint tapping, like fingernails on glass. It was coming from the big windows at the front of the store. I couldn't see anything outside. The lot was pitch black beyond the glow of the station's lights. The tapping got louder, more insistent, like someone was trying to get my attention. I grabbed the baseball bat we kept under the counter and yelled, "We're closed." The tapping stopped instantly. I didn't move from behind the counter for the rest of my shift. When my replacement showed up at 6 a.m., I told him what happened. He laughed it off, said the place was haunted as a joke, and mentioned that a few years back, a clerk had disappeared during a night shift. They found his car in the lot, but no trace of him. I haven't been back to work since. I hear that tapping, and I swear, sometimes I see a shadow in the corner of my room, just standing there, watching. I live in a quiet suburb outside Denver, the kind of place where everyone knows each other, and nothing ever really happens. My house is at the end of a cul-de-sac, and my neighbor, Mr. Thompson, is an older guy who keeps to himself. His house is always dark, except for one light in his upstairs window that stays on 24/7. I never thought much of it. Maybe he just liked the light on until last summer, when things got weird. One night, I was taking out the trash around 10 p.m. when I noticed the light in Mr. Thompson's window flickering, like someone was turning it on and off rapidly. I figured his bulb was dying, but it kept going for a good minute, almost like Morse code. I stared up at the window, and for a second, I thought I saw a silhouette, tall, thin, and definitely not Mr. Thompson's stocky build. I blinked. The light went back to its steady glow. I saw Mr. Thompson in his yard and asked if everything was okay, and went back to watering his lawn. That night, the flickering started again, but this time it was accompanied by a low hum, like an electrical buzz coming from his house. I couldn't sleep, so I sat by my window, watching. Around midnight, the light went out completely. First time I'd ever seen it off. Then my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Stop watching." I froze. My blinds were half open, but there was no way anyone could see me from outside. It was too dark. I closed the blinds and turned off my lights, heart pounding. The next morning, I went to check on Mr. Thompson. His front door was ajar, so I called out. No answer. I stepped inside, and the house smelled wrong, like damp and something metallic. I found Mr. Thompson in his living room, sitting in his recliner, staring at the wall. He was alive, but wouldn't respond, like he was in a trance. I called 911, and they took him to the hospital. He hasn't been back since. The weirdest part. When I went back to my house, I checked my phone. The text from the unknown number was gone, like it had never existed. But that night, the light in Mr. Thompson's window was back on, steady as ever. I moved out a week later, but I still get texts from
Always
unknown
saying the
numbers,
same
sometimes
thing.
always at
Stop
midnight.
watching.
Last fall, I went camping with a couple of friends in the Smoky Mountains, Tennessee. We're all from the States, so we've done these trips before, but this one was different. We'd planned a 3-day hike. We got hit with a storm and decided to cut the trip short. The fastest way back to our car was an old trail that wasn't on the map, but was marked by some faded signs. We figured it'd save us a few hours. The trail was narrow, overgrown. Off, the air was heavy, and the woods were too quiet. No birds, no insects, just our footsteps crunching on leaves. About an hour in, we found an old fire pit, still smoldering, like someone had been there recently. We didn't think much of it. Campers are common out here, but then we noticed the carvings on the trees around it. Strange symbols, like circles with slashes through them, carved deep into the bark. My friend Jake, who's into that kind of stuff, said they looked ritualistic. We laughed it off, but I could tell he was uneasy as we kept walking. I started hearing whispers, like voices just out of earshot. I thought it was the wind, but my friends heard it too. We picked up the pace, but the trail seemed to stretch on forever. Then we saw a figure standing maybe 50 yards ahead, motionless, facing away from us. It was tall, too tall, and its arms hung unnaturally long. We froze. I called out, "Hey, you okay?" No response. The figure just stood there, swaying slightly, like it was caught in a breeze we couldn't feel. We decided to go around, cutting through the brush to avoid it. But as we moved, I swear I saw it turn its head fast, like it snapped toward us. Its face, I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't human, too pale, too smooth, with eyes that were just black holes. We ran crashing through the woods, not caring about the trail anymore. When we finally reached the parking lot, our car was there, but the windows were covered in those same symbols from the trees, scratched into the glass. We drove out of there and haven't been back. None of us talk about it, but I know we all still hear those whispers sometimes, especially when we're alone. Last week, I found a piece of bark in my backpack, one I didn't put there, with a single carved symbol on it.